It happened a few years ago when I was still at university. Back then, I was full of energy and thirst for adventure. Every weekend, I was eager to get out into nature, to enjoy the fresh air and the silence of the forest away from the hustle and bustle of the city. One autumn day, filled with the bright colors of leaves running through the trees, was the usual starting point of a new adventure for me. That day, I didn't really feel like sitting at home. I packed a small rucksack with a thermos of hot tea, sandwiches, and a change of clothes in case of rain. My route followed familiar paths, but when I got lost for a minute in the abundance of trees, I accidentally stumbled onto an old, almost invisible path. The path looked abandoned. Bushes and tall grass filled it, as if hiding it from view. My curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to see where it led. I walked deeper and deeper into the forest, imperceptibly losing track of time. With each step, the silence became deeper and deeper, and only occasionally I could hear the sounds of nature, birds chirping, rustling in the grass. Suddenly, as if the world around me had stopped, I saw before me an old house covered with vines and moss. It looked as if it had not been touched for years. The roof had partially collapsed, and the windows were boarded up with wood and cobwebs, but something about the place drew me in. I walked closer and noticed the door was ajar, as if someone was waiting for my arrival. Not a single sound could be heard inside. Cheerfully, I took a step inside. Darkness immediately came over me, and as I switched on my torch, I saw strange shadows and silhouettes projected on the walls. A feeling as if I had entered another world swept over me. Important details flashed through my mind. Old furniture covered in dust, forgotten items that seemed to have once belonged to happy people. I began to look around the rooms, and with each new find, the sense of strangeness grew. In the corner stood a piano, covered in a layer of dust and having lost its former beauty. I approached it and, instinctively, pressed the keys. An unfamiliar sound echoed in the empty room. A suppressed shudder went through me and, feeling uncomfortable, I opened the next door. As I did so, I stumbled into a small library full of dusty books. On one of the shelves was a diary, which immediately caught my attention. Flipping through the pages, I discovered that it belonged to a woman named Anna, who had lived here many years ago. The pages were filled with her experiences, fears, and strange events that had happened to her in this house. Something was missing from her words, as if she was always looking for something she could never find. On one of the pages, I noticed an entry where she mentioned strange sounds coming at night.
Help me!
In fear, I rushed to the door, but it seemed to disappear, vanished, just like this woman. I shouted, but the sound of my voice dissolved into the emptiness of the house. Despair gripped me, and at the same moment, I noticed that the walls were covered in stains, but not from mold. They were hands, drawn as if someone was desperately trying to get out. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, trying to get my panic under control. It's just a hallucination, I told myself, opening my eyes again and turning towards the exit. But the woman reappeared. She stood closer, her face contorted with fear and grief. Her white dress rippled under a breeze that was not there. Suddenly she pointed to one of the old paintings hanging on the wall that depicted a family. Happy faces in brightly colored clothes, but as I looked at their eyes, I realized they were empty. With great determination, I rushed into the other room, still hoping to find a way out. Each step rang out like thunder, and I felt the excitement growing inside again. I stepped out into a long corridor, where I could hear light footsteps behind me. Every now and then, I thought I heard voices whispering my name, asking for help. Each step became a challenge. Old notes began to appear on the walls, written with wild scribbles.
Help me.
My head was spinning and fear was gripping my heart. Suddenly the lantern light went out and I found myself in total darkness. I clutched my eyes shut, waiting for it all to end. I heard someone calling my name, and at that moment, feeling panicked, I grouped myself together and, looking into the darkness, repeated in my head, "This can't be real. It's just a dream." Then, gathering all my will, I started to move, instinctively knowing that I had to find a way out. I ran into a door, and without wasting a second, I pushed it open with all my strength. It opened, and the chill air pressed down on me as if it was coated in a layer of fear. I ran outside, heading back down the same overgrown path I'd come from. Stopping for a moment to catch my breath, I turned around. No woman, no home, just a time-wasting forest engulfed in evening shadows. How I got home I don't remember. Everything floats in my mind. I've learnt to respect boundaries that are best not crossed. That experience, that house, that voice, it all became a part of me, like a scar that is a lasting reminder of a bitter lesson. Not everything lost in the forest must be found.